Welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio here this morning. Back with you, normal time slot after Neal did his civic duty yesterday and clearly is with us, not with them today. So we'll talk some recruiting. Ole Miss
so happy.
gets a commitment from Marcel Reed, the Nashville area quarterback yesterday. What does that mean for Jaden Rashada? We'll go over that a little bit. Also, we will hit just kind of some transfer portal stuff in general, kind of what's going on with the football program. Good bit of football today. Ole Miss baseball in Pearl tonight, a 6 o'clock start for the Bulldogs and the Rebels, the fourth straight meeting in a week's time between Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and Ole Miss finishing up its Pearl double dip for the season, too. They played Southern Miss a few weeks ago.
That game's on CBS,
State.
Correct?
2:30 CBS, yes, that is correct. As always, no streaming through Pearl. I don't know, not my area, but they never do. I don't know why. I got nothing, but that is never something that they do.
That is odd, isn't it?
I don't understand it. Everybody else, because if it's on TV, they're cool, but it never streams. It almost makes me wonder if the deal is, hey, it makes people come because there's no other way to watch it, and they think it adds 500 tickets or something
to the
attendance.
to the Mississippi Braves
correct.
Or whatever.
Yes, yeah. It's the college series or whatever that the Braves benefit from or Trustmark benefits from or whatever. And it's a moneymaker. I mean, they fill it up for all that because, they've got, State plays Southern, obviously. Occasionally you'll have some other games as well. They do a good job with it. I mean, it's well done.
Yeah.
But that would be my guess, is that it's almost like a blackout.
So you're saying you think it's not streamed intentionally?
Well, if you can do TV... Again, not my area. If you can do TV, why couldn't you do a stream?
Well, you could.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because, the game for a long time, if it's chosen to be on what used to be Fox Sports or something, Fox Sports South or something back in the day, yeah, sure. So I don't know. If somebody has the answer, feel free to let me know, but that's it. Ole Miss throwing Drew McDaniel tonight. Look, they still have a pitching issue, well, overall, but a depth issue. I mean, I don't know how long John Gaddis is out, but he had an appendectomy 8 days ago. You have to think at least a week or two, at least.
Yeah.
That's a lot of twisting and turning with that core there. And then Jack Washburn still coming back from the hamstring issue, whatever what that is. So that's the setup for today. We'll talk about those things and more. The Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch specials $5.69. You know by now, 2 sides, bread, 32-ounce drink, as somebody said in the stream. Thank you for remembering. Want to give you $10. We can do that by taking a picture of the QR code and any pump that's Blue Sky related here in Mississippi, including the Oxford Exxon. Take a picture. Just download the Exxon mobile app. 1,000 bonus points. 1,000 bonus points equals $10 with the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to grab a burger, a po' boy, appetizer, great beer selection, full bar, and more. I noticed yesterday looked like some of the college kids are probably starting to head out. So
close.
Things thinning out a little bit. So if you want to stop.
It's not as good as Christmas as far as moving around and about.
Yeah.
But that 3 weeks, 2 weeks in Christmas is pretty nice.
In fact, I was telling Jason Greer the other day. He was kind enough to come over and watch some of Carson's soccer game on Sunday, and we were talking, and I told him that time, it's like December the 10th till about December the 22nd is just fantastic.
You can park, you can eat,
yeah,
you can go wherever.
And then everything closes for a few days, and then the week between Christmas and New Year's is awesome.
The deal with summer is that there's more students than ever coming back for the first and second terms and the full terms. Now it's laid back, it's low key, whatever, but it's still crowded.
We do get a studentless break from about May the 10th or so until June about 1st. June 1st.
Because the Maymester doesn't count. There's not enough people back for Maymester.
Yeah.
If they still call it that, the intercession thing. But anyway, yeah.
Anyway, 662-257-1900 for Clark Ford, and then for Rafters, it's in Oxford on the Square and also in New Albany.
It is, yes. All right. So, how long were you there yesterday? When did you get out?
I was there for about 3 hours. I got number 39, and I knew right away I'm probably in good shape.
Oh, that's good?
Yeah. You want the higher the number possible.
Okay. 2 is not good.
No. If you get number 2, you're like, oh, I got to get out of this.
Because they're going to bank some early.
Yeah, but then you start watching people come up with reasons to get out. And one guy was like, a couple were legit, like health reasons. Then one guy was like, if you know the defendant, one guy goes, that's my cousin. And
oh, really?
So he got out.
How close a cousin we got to be? We all cousins. How close we got to get?
It literally went through my mind. I was like, we're probably related somehow. I mean,
whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Did you hear some really bad excuses?
Well, you go up and
so you don't hear the whole thing?
Yeah, you don't hear everything.
Okay.
Like one person was having a hard time walking or something, and I think they got out because sitting in a thing with their foot bad was going to be a problem.
Oh.
Stuff like that. But you watch the people fall off, and you're like, okay, that's 4, 5. And at this point, you're contemplating, do I play the I don't think I can be fair card just because I don't think I can be fair and run the risk? And when you're sitting in a courtroom, you think, do I really? And then, and I shouldn't.
Your conscience does kick in a little bit and go, okay, I'm making up something here.
I'm not under a vow anymore, like a oath or whatever, because they put you under oath even when you're in the general pool that, hey, you can't talk about jury duty or the case or whatever. But I think I've been dismissed.
So you're fine.
The defendant was going to represent himself, and I was having some Lindsey Miller flashback. Like, there was a part of me, Chase,
that thought, hey, I'm here for the show.
There was a part of me that was like, I don't really want to leave now. I mean, because you could see where that was going. Pro tip, if you're not an attorney, you don't need to represent yourself.
No matter what.
Ever.
Find a law student if you have
Lindsey Miller, Esquire, was a total disaster. That was a comical disaster.
Who's more frustrated when the defendant does himself? Is it the prosecutor or the judge?
Has to be the judge.
Because he has to explain so many things, and it becomes a babysitting session.
You have a constitutional right to defend yourself. Sure. So, but you have...
But you literally are teaching law to the person as you go.
Well, it's just never going to work.
Because like I said, I still believe to this day, because there's no reason for him to have been involved, that Steve Faris wasn't going to do anything, and then he went, hold on, he's representing himself? Well, I got to see this. I'll take this one. I'll head in today.
I almost think he was there that day as a show of sympathy.
Oh, like a support. Almost like, hey
like, I don't want to send some young buck in
who's going to get off?
Who's going to consume him?
Yeah.
Spit him out and then reconsume him.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. So, anyway. Okay. That's done. How many jurors were brought in total with the pool?
50?
Okay.
Yeah, 50 felt like.
And they keep 14?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I got 39, I was like, yes. I felt good at that point.
Okay.
The only other thing that strikes you about court, then we'll get off court.
You're fine.
Is
we're going to kill a segment.
We were there from 8:30. We started at 8:30. I probably got dismissed around 11 because I called you. We had 3 recesses in that amount of time. Take a 15-minute break, take a 20-minute break. I mean, do you guys get anything done?
What were the breaks for?
People go to the restroom or whatever. I mean,
so it wasn't for the attorneys to be like doing
Well,
things.
one time it was. But the other time it was like, hey, let's take a break. Let's take a break. Very concerned with people's comfort, which is good. But come on, let's go. I mean, if I took a 20-minute break every hour.
You're not getting much done.
Yeah.
It's kind of running. Something I was going to mention. I thought this was interesting. And this is bashing what, because they should be better. This is for robot umps. But did you see this yesterday? So,
it's the Angel Hernandez game?
Yeah. Did you see the score? Okay. So
I've not seen the umpire score.
Okay, so catch everybody up. We all know umpires suck. We know everybody's talking about robot umping, and do you do that for balls and strikes, and you just place that in. Much like tennis uses the Hawkeye system to tell you if a ball's in or out, something along those lines. And this is more of, if the major league umpires are this bad, what do you expect the college umpires to be? Like, because the velocities are essentially the same. So, like, there's an impossibility that the college umpires are going to be really, really, really good. Because the major league umpires are missing at a historic rate right now, for whatever reason. To the point that it's prompting this robot thing that probably is going to be a thing before it's over. But point being, on Monday, Kyle Schwarber was ejected. A lot of people not blaming him because the ump shows are awful. Shohei Ohtani has had. Did you see this? Ohtani is getting some of the worst strike zones in Major League Baseball for an MVP. It's really weird. He is, I want to say I forget the exact stats. I probably need to find it. But essentially, the number of times that he has thrown a ball, but it is called a strike, is 10%. It's like 10.6%.
Okay.
And there was one yesterday that was, a foot low and called a strike. And they said he must be the most patient man on the planet because he just kind of shook it off and went on about his business.
When he's hitting.
Yes, hitting, not pitching. Hitting.
Okay.
Yes, he is getting a terrible strike zone while he is hitting. So, Angel Hernandez on Monday, below average everywhere. This is coming from Umpire Scorecards, which is a really cool follow, by the way, if you're interested in that.
It is.
His strike accuracy. Now, remember, there's going to be some that are very obvious. So, let's take that in consideration, too. If you're way off the zone, you get credit for it, even if it's like a 2-inch putt. You still get a made putt.
Right.
77% accuracy.
That's inexcusable.
For Angel Hernandez. It's 77.
Well, both the Brewers and the Phillies were upset with him all night. Everyone's focused on Schwarber's meltdown. As a huge Kyle Schwarber fan, I can tell you that for Kyle Schwarber to get to that place, this is not a hothead. He's one of the calmer players.
There were 11 strikes thrown that he missed. 11. How are you that seasoned and been around that long and be that bad?
I don't know.
Because that's not, breaking ball really breaks. I don't know. No. This just means you suck.
What strikes me about the college umpiring, and I've watched a lot of SEC baseball this year.
Sure.
Is they chase the one that they miss. A guy throws a sweeping breaking ball, and it's outside, and they give him that call over and over and over. And then where the college umps are really bad, and where frankly, if you're smart, you steal strikes routinely, is if you set up off the plate just a little.
Yeah.
It can't be egregious.
You can't go 6 to 9 out. Yeah,
but if you set up off the plate and he hits the target, it's a strike.
Yeah, you get credit for hitting the target.
And so the left-handed hitter who looks at the pitch and goes, that's outside, ends up losing his mind when it gets called a strike because he was looking right at it and he knows it was not a strike. And it's mostly the left-handed hitters, it seems. This is my observation.
Yeah, sure.
I could be wrong. I have no science. I have no data, but I've watched a lot.
Sure.
It's the left-handed hitters giving way too much on the outside. It's not even corner. It's off the plate. And that's a strike. And then it becomes a strike over the course of the day. And for the hitters, it's frustrating. The college zone is so big.
Yeah.
And then it seems to grow as the day goes on.
Yeah. And it might grow out. It might grow up, down.
It always grows out.
Yeah.
Consistently grows out.
And you get a lot of high strikes.
And they miss the bottom of the zone.
They do. Yeah. You can drop curveballs in that are strikes that they do not get called.
They won't call it. But you'll see the guy that throws the loopy curve.
Uh-huh.
And because it lands in the catcher's mitt, they go strike.
But it came in at his neck.
And I'm like, dude, that was way above the letters.
Yeah.
And this isn't, an Ole Miss thing or whatever. This is just in general. I was watching Vanderbilt the other day, and it was that way. This high strike, and the hitter just Because you've spent your life building plate discipline.
Yeah, sure.
And if you're a pro prospect, plate discipline matters. Your command of the strike zone matters. And suddenly this pitch is up above you and you're not swinging and it's getting called a strike, and you can't rewire your brain in that short period of time.
So I see it in the stream, and it's the answer that there are unions for umpires in Major League Baseball. Essentially, it's tenure. But, I mean, are they reprimanded at all? Like, do they just not care? I mean, you literally can't lose your job for performance at all?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
I mean, has an umpire been fired for sucking ever?
I think they've pushed a couple into retirement.
Well, that's not the same thing.
But no, I don't think so.
So once you're there,
I think it's kind of like having tenure.
Yeah. And then you run into things, if these guys get older, their eyesight worsens. I mean, you start running into just health.
I wish I could remember where I was listening to it. I was driving, and I was listening to some show or podcast or something, and this topic came up, and it apparently is a topic of concern in baseball circles that they've got to go get younger umpires. And I think it may have been about officiating in general, because they were talking about this at the NBA level too. Making sure that they have young officials that are being trained because of the speed of the game and the athleticism of the players and all of that.
So I read here, this is just a really quick Google search. This is from ESPN, a story about 8 ways umpiring can improve in Major League Baseball. And it says the truth is some umpires do get fired or sent back to the minors, but once umpires have put in 3 seasons in the big leagues, the rules change. At that point, Major League Baseball is required to work with them to correct their issues, and they can only be let go for repeated offenses over a long period of time.
Yeah. Probably not a long
line. And I don't really understand why.
Probably not a long line of people waiting to do the job. You know, and they've cycled out some minor league teams, and so there's fewer minor league umpires now.
That's true. And I'm not seeing a lot of college umpires that go, God, he ought to be doing the Braves-Yankees tomorrow. I mean, damn, he's a pro out here. He's a pro.
I'm not picking on the college umpires because I realize that it's not their primary gig. Don't get me wrong.
They have day jobs.
But goodness.
NFL officials at their jobs are much better than Major League umpires at their jobs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They're both complicated. They're not easy. That's not the argument.
And I'm sure calling balls and strikes with guys who are that precise is difficult.
Well, and frankly, with a big freaking box going out, you missed that one. How'd you not miss that microcosm? That microscopic thing 2 inches off the plate.
Well, and quality major league pitchers are working the edges. I mean, they're painting edges. They're never in the middle of the plate.
And frankly, even with what he's talking about, and I could be wrong, I don't think you even are getting reprimanded for missing calls. I think it's like egregious things from a game management standpoint. I don't know that there's really any repercussions from just, hey, judgment call stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway. Okay, we'll talk recruiting in a minute. We'll come back and do that. First, about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you get local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Brought to you by Bell & Grove. They're based out of Chattanooga. Daryl Oliver and Evan Dial built Bell & Grove. It's a logistics provider with more than 35 years of transportation industry experience. They specialize in domestic freight movement throughout the continental U.S. They can navigate through supply chain issues while also leaning on their partner carriers to get the most competitive rate possible for their customers. In addition, Bell & Grove can help customers design a custom solution for their shipping needs. So whether your business is in need of moving a truckload, a partial shipment, or a flatbed, Bell & Grove can accommodate you. Air and ground expedited services available as well. Call Daryl Oliver at 865-672-6557. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward and chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. So call Corinth Dental today For a no-cost digital scan of your teeth, let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. Brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers. From work to lifestyle to nightlife, there's the perfect something for everyone. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com. And we're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. Yesterday I was telling you about if you are someone seeking a job, what to do. Also, remember, if your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, Service Specialists can help you as well. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You have nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138 or check out their new and improved website, servicespecialistltd.com. I'll have a mailbag up probably late tomorrow. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
Podcast is brought to you by Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. Shipped straight to your door, 10 minutes from freezer to plate. It's easy. It is convenient. It's giving you restaurant-quality shrimp right here with several different options. The signature Louisiana shrimp bowl, the French Quarter Alfredo, or the garlic herb butter. You can take it. You can put it on salads, over vegetables, mix it with steaks, and much more. The convenience is where it's at with Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com, and use MPW. That code will give you $20 off your first order. So when you don't really know what you want, lunch, dinner, or whatnot, pop it in, be ready in no time, give you a great meal with Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. Let's see. So Marcel Reed, the Nashville area quarterback, where's he from?
Montgomery Bell Academy.
Right. Okay, that's right.
Which apparently has facilities that are incredible.
I get kind of the Nashville private schools. I get sort of mixed up in my head a little bit. C.J. Beathard was from Battleground. Is that correct? Back in the day,
for some reason that rings.
That
rings
true?
accurate. Yes.
They've had some kids from Ensworth over the years.
Where is he was in the NFL.
The 49ers forever. I don't know where he is now. I don't know. Good kid. Nice kid.
Yeah, real nice kid.
Back in the day. It's a crazy career, wasn't it?
You look back, that was a crazy day.
That's what you need. You need a Beathard, Iowa jersey.
Oh, I do.
That's what you actually need.
That would be sweet.
Yeah. The whole they need to work on that. Probably know somebody who knows somebody. Was that Houston? Or was that Freeze?
Yeah, it was Houston. Freeze dropped him. He committed.
That was Freeze.
He committed to Ole Miss under Houston in 2011.
Okay.
Because we talked to him on that Saturday that Ole Miss lost to Vanderbilt so bad.
Oh, that was that day?
Yes.
Was it really?
Yeah, because we arranged to meet him and
okay.
had some issues, and then he came and found us and did the interview.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
He's a really nice kid. Like, things most kids won't do.
No.
He did it.
Yeah.
He was in the stadium, came out to do the interview, and then went back in. And the complication was he was there as a Vanderbilt unofficial visitor, and Vanderbilt was pissed off that we were interviewing him.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, but it all worked out.
Yeah, whatever.
And by the end of the day, it didn't matter anymore.
His tenure was in a mess at that point.
Yeah, that was the day that you went, nope, not going to work.
Franklin had a good time that day. He was very excited that afternoon.
That was a sign that they were on the rise.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, anyway, okay, Marcel Reed committing to Ole Miss yesterday to the point that it's kind of fascinating. What does it mean for Jaden Rashada? What does it mean for Marcel Reed? And they're broken up into two different things, and they're together all at the same time. What I find fascinating about this is that, look, common sense says that most situations are not going to be a Ryan Buchanan, Devontae Kincaid situation, is that two guys who have a lot of Division I offers as quarterbacks, especially in today's world, are not going to the same school.
Just doesn't happen.
Yeah, so I'm not from a media member, but just in general, I've seen that conversation across kind of the internet of, well, maybe you get them both. No, you're not. You're going to get one quarterback. And Rashada's in town for 48 hours. We know that Rashada has some NIL aspirations for his college career that are pretty steep.
Yeah.
Because he believes he's in the market of Nico and Arch Manning and those guys.
And he probably is.
Yes. And again, the market is the market.
That's an important thing to point out, is that he probably is.
So I guess there's several different things. We'll kind of talk through this. I'm just sort of introducing it before we kind of brainstorm and have the conversation while we have microphones in our face, is that we don't know what happened. We don't know, did Rashada come in over the course of the weekend and something go, yeah, no, this just didn't whatever. We don't know if, hey, we can't go there from an NIL standpoint to hit that. We don't know if Marcel Reed freaked out, saw Rashada and went, hey, I got to get a spot. I got to make sure he doesn't go to Ole Miss and I end up at Vanderbilt, no offense to the Doors, and then you're on and on and on and on and on and on. And, however, whatever that looks like. Because here's the deal. And this is not really about Marcel Reed. This is not about what he is or isn't. Rashada, almost exclusively in ranking recruits and where people's ceilings are, is the higher rated prospect. Is the guy with the larger ceiling, is more ready. I mean, Marcel Reed's a project at this point.
Yeah,
it's got work to do. That if you're taking Reed right now, it at bare minimum has some level of negative connotation toward Rashada. No matter, even if you go, hey, Rashada, we're still going to recruit him, and if he signs, then Reed goes elsewhere. I mean, sure, we can play that game a little bit, but if nothing else, this is a negative toward the recruitment of Jared Rashada at this point. And I guess the point is, and this is a huge why. I mean, it's the question, and I don't know the answer. Now, it's fresh. Maybe we'll figure it out. We'll talk to people. We'll do what we can. But when it comes out of it, and you comes out of the weekend, what is your first blush thought on what this said or meant?
Well, the most interesting thing to me has been people who normally will kind of fill me in a little bit on what something means or what's going on, stone silent. So both Saturday and Sunday, people close to Ole Miss sought me out to tell me how good things were going with Rashada.
Yeah.
Wasn't me calling and going, hey, what's up? How's it going? Because I typically don't do that. It was going really well. Felt really confident about it. And then later Sunday, after you and I had already taped a podcast, so it was that evening, it came out that Marcel Reed was going to make an announcement on Monday. And so you and I started talking, and I was kind of scrambling around going, what is it? What is it? What does it mean? And everybody started saying it's Ole Miss. And frankly, I was a little confused. And I'm still a little confused. And so I don't necessarily know what it means. I mean, I can take some guesses. The overriding guess on my part is that the risk of mentioning another school, I think it's
part of the story.
It's a big part of the story. It's a pattern here. Rashada visited Arkansas a week before he visited Ole Miss.
Correct.
Arkansas coveted Jaden Rashada. Probably still covets Jaden Rashada. But when he was on campus in Fayetteville, they very clearly got the impression that his NIL desires were in a territory that they weren't comfortable going to or weren't confident they could get to.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also a concern out of there, according to people close to them, that this might take a while, this could go for a while, and we need to get our guy. And their next guy was Malachi Singleton from Georgia, who committed to them yesterday. So they sort of just said, that's probably too rich for our blood right now, and moved on. So he comes to Ole Miss a week later, and 5 days later, he comes to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss covets Jaden Rashada. I know that for an absolute fact.
Sure.
There are people there who think he's one of the top 2 quarterbacks in this class.
Sure.
He goes there to Ole Miss, and I know for a fact that NIL came up. And that was NIL was a topic of conversation Saturday afternoon, in fact. I don't know whether the people at Ole Miss just felt like, hey, I can read the tea leaves here, whether they had the same concern as Arkansas with, hey, this could go for a while. Other people are involved. The other people that are involved specifically are Oregon, Miami, Texas A&M just offered, and when A&M gets involved, all jokes aside,
you got to listen, yeah.
And so maybe they said, hey, we really need to get a quarterback in this class. Our guy is Reid. That's who we like. We can pull the trigger on Reid now and get this done because Marcel had kept coming back. We can get this done now, but if we don't take his commitment now, is that going to spook him? And now Vanderbilt makes a run.
And you get left out.
Or whoever makes a run, and now they get their guy, and he doesn't want to back out of a commitment. That's my guess. My guess is that Ole Miss will continue to recruit Jaden Rashada. But for them to take Marcel Reed, it tells me that they think ultimately they're not going to get him. They can't go there from an NIL standpoint. And then that leads into another part of the conversation, which is, look, I get, on every level, I get the people that are like, hey, man, that is such a risk to give a high school kid that much money.
Oh, 100%.
It's
stupid.
I get it. In fact,
stupid.
I think it's insane. But if that's the market, that's the market. And if you're not going to play in that market, what market do you play in? Which is why yesterday when Ole Miss put out, I'm doing the conspiracy thing now. I know it was already out, but when they put on the internet the really well done video about transfer to the SIP or whatever,
it was really well done,
incredibly well done.
Yeah, it was maybe their best video I've seen in a while, and they're pretty good at what they do.
I mean, there are pro teams that don't put up videos that good. But when you get past the, hey, that was really well produced, and get down to the what was the meat? The meat was, we're the transfer school. We are the ideal transfer school. And you wonder, is that going to become not just your brand, but almost your exclusive strategy?
Look, it's two very different things. Hey, we don't know if Rashada is the guy to give this level of NIL to.
Sure.
We don't know if we are unable to give this level of NIL to a player. Those are two completely different things. That is not the best use of a lot of NIL money that we do have is an option. There are lots of NIL things here. But like you said, if you're not jumping into the pool at all, what is your ceiling? You're just saying you can't get high school kids in the top 100, 150, whatever line of demarcation you want to put on it.
Yep.
You just can't get them. It is what it is, and that's no way. And we can't swim in those waters. But if you didn't think you could at all, here's the deal: Jaden Rashada's number was known prior to this weekend.
Yeah.
Why even bring him in?
Yeah, I mean,
They thought going into the weekend, I believe Ole Miss believed, no, if this all works out, it's all cool. We could make this happen. We did a whole damn podcast.
You had to believe that Ole Miss was aware that Jaden Rashada had gone to Arkansas the weekend before. They probably were following along a little bit, right?
Sure.
You're in the same division of the same conference. You pay attention to one another. But so they brought him in knowing that Reid was coming in too. And so then I can't help but wonder, and I'm not saying this, was this your way of pushing Marcel Reed and to do it?
Hey, this guy's here.
He's here. Are you coming or not? And maybe it was. And if that was the case, then okay.
That'd be.
But, I don't know that to be the case at all. I'm telling you up front, I don't know.
You got another theory.
On the other hand, I think they want Jaden Rashada.
Well, yeah, all things equal, I think Jaden Rashada would be the quarterback in the class if they could just go put their wand down on someone.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's he's not even an elephant in the room. It doesn't even matter anymore. I think the elephant has left the room. But this is the same year that Arch Manning's in a class. You want to get a big-time quarterback that year.
You can say, look, you do whatever you need to do for your program whenever, and PR can't carry your roster in any way positively. Now, you just got to put your group together, whatever it needs to look like. However, Jaden Rashada would have been one of the guys that would have really been a salve to not getting Arch Manning in this class.
Sure.
You know, hey, we got our dude. It is what it is.
Well, he's a super charismatic kid. He's a big, strong quarterback. Has a lot going for him. Would send a signal to college football. You know, and so people do the thing about markets, right? People go, it's just not worth it. That's insane. It's crazy. The words that we use. Is it? For the sake of argument, is it? If Nico Iamaleava can get $8 million and Arch Manning can get more than that, and the kid that's from Detroit, whose name escapes me, and I've got it here, I had it here somewhere, Moore, I think it says Dante Moore, that's his last name, quarterback from Detroit. If he can get $5-6 million in NIL or more to go to Oregon or wherever he's going to end up going, well, that becomes the market. That becomes the benchmark at which if you're another one of these highly recruited quarterbacks, you go, okay, well, where do I slot in? I used the Major League Baseball example the other day. Carlos Correa gets a 3-year, $105.3 or whatever it was, $1 million deal from the Minnesota Twins.
Sure.
Okay? So Dansby Swanson's a free agent at the end of this season, assuming he and the Braves don't reach an extension during the year.
Mm-hmm.
Is Dansby Swanson going to get Carlos Correa money? No. Would Dansby Swanson's agent be an absolute fool not to use that as one of the benchmarks?
It's actually a better metaphor even than that, because college football teams who are willing and able to do that is very similar to a pro league where only a certain number of teams would be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the market, but also I've got to find the teams that can actually do it, and you start matching slot for slot.
Right.
And then after that, hey, you're out of luck because all that's left is the Twins. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
Sure. And that's one of the things that happened to Correa. He wanted a deal that he couldn't get. It's kind of no different than a real estate market, right? I mean, if someone walks into your neighborhood and pays $800,000 over market value for a house, well, you turn around right away and call your realtor and go, hey, should we be selling? And your realtor's probably going to say, no, that was an anomaly.
JM asking here, says, Chase, when it comes to NIL deals, what the heck is almost waiting for? They haven't done anything of significance. I'm not eligible to speak on that behalf, but my gut guess, and from what I've heard talking to people, Neal can probably agree or disagree here, is that they have taken more of the route of spreading it around versus spending a large chunk of your pool on one player, two players, that it's been more about, frankly, transfer type amounts that are more palatable, if you will, from a transfer versus a high school kid, and trying to be efficient with a number of players to this point.
I feel like I know some numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm not comfortable saying numbers out loud without confirmation of some sort. But the transfer market, at least in this last cycle, the numbers weren't outrageous on NIL deals. You could get it done for a very manageable number. It was nothing that pushed this. I mean, I'll say it was 5 figures.
Yeah.
It was not even 6 figures.
Yeah.
So those are different kind of deals, and that speaks to my knowledge, every transfer that Ole Miss got. Their NIL deals were very manageable. The high school market, for whatever reason, has just been different than that, especially at the top of the high school market. And so we talked about this a lot, and I think we're starting to see it come to fruition. There are only going to be a handful of programs that can swim in those waters if the market stays the same. Now, look, I expect the market's going to correct itself. A bust is inevitable. And a bust is going to be embarrassing. It's going to cost people jobs. It's going to lead to angst and acrimony and self-corrections.
Here's the thing, too, and we'll tease this for in a second. How important, because of the portal, because of eligibility remaining on its current quarterbacks, on how much Ole Miss likes or doesn't like its current quarterbacks, how much do they even need a quarterback in this class? What does it actually matter? Think about it for a second. Talk about it. Yeah. Justin Hill Creamery, JustinHillCreamery.com. Go to the Instagram page, see what's going on with them. They are great about updating that every day, including the Mother's Day pre-order menu that's going on, dessert box. It's got cannolis, chocolate-covered strawberries, cheesecake dip, and more. They've got a high tea tray, artisanal cheese box they do for all occasions, and chocolate-covered strawberries. You can get those by the half dozen or the dozen. You can call them at 662-419-9201. You can pick it up May 5th through 7th. You can send them an email even, cheese@JohnsonHillCreamery.com. They make all their cheese local and in-house and available on White Oak Lane right there off Molly Bar in Oxford with a bakery, catering, grazing tables, and much more. Again, that is 662-419-9201.
We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Brought to you by Opa, Oxford's newest restaurant on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, and more. All of that at 306 South Lamar in Oxford. If you're thinking about traveling this summer, maybe you're already planning a holiday trip, get in touch with John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John traveled the globe for 37 years before he even got into the business, so he knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip, one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. Get in touch with him, give him some parameters, give him a budget, and then sit back, chill. He's going to come up with options that you're not going to find on your own, and no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. We're brought to you by Pinnacle, which is home to the Pinnacle Advisory Services Team, their 401k advisory services team. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. We're brought to you by the College Corner. It's one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you're in Hernando, Memphis, DeSoto County, that area, call Southern, 662-429-4429.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. They also make it very easy to transfer your medications to G&M. If you're at a big box pharmacy who doesn't care about you, just give G&M a call, and they will handle the rest. Again, that is 662-236-2222 with free delivery, or they're in Holly Springs with Tyson Drugs there on the square. Yeah, look, we'll get back to that question in a second. There's no doubt. I mean, there is the thought of just spend the money in a lot of different places. Spend it on a left tackle. Spend it on whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. Whatever you think you can do.
Someone used the money ball analogy, and you and I talked about this. It's an interesting thing, right? It's which means you're kind of bargain shopping. You're kind of doing analytics. You're getting a guy that fits a need for you that maybe his market price isn't super high because of whatever.
Moneyball also requires development that, frankly, is not as big of a part of college football anymore. Because you got to keep that guy happy long enough to develop into what you think he can be without jumping ship somewhere else.
Right. Well, the other thing about Moneyball, the movie, the book,
yeah,
was about a team.
A little engine.
And that team had 2 Cy Young Award winners in its rotation in the peak of their careers.
It had the best trio of pitchers in Major League Baseball at the time.
That helped.
And that's not even mentioned in the movie.
And those guys,
it wasn't Scott Hatterberg that got it done.
Barry Zito and Tim Hudson, and who's the one I'm forgetting here?
Mark Mulder.
Mark Mulder were 5 stars.
Yeah.
They had a young third baseman, Eric Chavez, who would have been a high 4-star.
Yeah.
They weren't just
David Justice out there being the guy that could.
Yeah, I mean, David Justice was older, sure, but he still had some gas left in the tank. You know, they had Giambi at one point on that team.
Yeah.
There's more to them than just, Kevin Youkilis.
Mm-hmm. Point being, I had Altmaier's true sophomore. Dart's a true sophomore. Dart's already used his portal, so he would be sitting out if he were to leave again and go somewhere else. Whether it is true or accurate or not, Lane believes he can go into the portal most years and find a quarterback. I think we can safely say that. Yeah. I mean, they need Dart to get better and get better quickly if he's going to be the guy, but they believe they can do it. So I guess point being, some of this is perception. Some of this is you want quarterbacks that you're developing and guys you get in your system and guys that you believe in that you think can play. Because, you got to recruit some high school kids. You can't go sign 28 portal guys a year and no high school kids. But is it necessarily some, oh, my God, if you don't get a quarterback right now, there's a problem? I mean, there's kind of always tomorrow with this. You've got years left on these dudes no matter what. I mean, to me, of all classes, other than it has Arch Manning in it, it doesn't feel like that critical of a quarterback class to me. You want one, don't get me wrong.
I think they feel like they really needed to get one, and they got one. And look, if you bring in Marcel Reed and he takes 2 years to develop and then he's your quarterback for 3 years, well, you won. He doesn't have to step in and play right away unless he gets frustrated. Sure. And to your point, that's what you worry about now is, are guys willing to sign up for development? I think quarterback's the one spot you still could develop a young guy. The guys that are getting squeezed out now is the defensive end who's going to take 2 years to develop. Now you bring those kids in on visits and you wine them and dine them and shot them. And then when they sign with South Alabama, you kind of subtly say, hey, remember us. And look, it's possible they brought Rashada in.
I was waiting on it.
Knowing that they couldn't afford him, going, hey, you're going to go to A&M or whatever, and if it doesn't work out, remember where you had fun. Remember our date.
That dog is cute. You'll be able to throw him a tennis ball in 2 years.
Yeah,
come on back. We'll play with Juice.
And I don't know that to be the case at all. In fact, I have zero.
No, we're just talking.
I mean,
we're spitballing at this point.
There's a part of me that watches some of these visits happen, and I think that's what's going on. This is about kind of like that line in the moment in For Love of the Game when they go on the date, and she goes, well, what now? I see who I see, and you don't ask questions, and you see who you see, and I don't ask questions. And
I'll see you in New York on the 25th.
Yeah, and he goes, exactly. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's, hey.
It's never mattered more to finish second.
You're going to go date some other people? You're even going to get serious with someone for a while. And we're going to keep dating people. And we might get serious with somebody. But just in case, let's remember we had this weekend. And maybe down the road we can have something more serious.
Cool.
Is that conceivable? It absolutely is. In today's college football, it 100% is. And again, for the record, I'm not saying that's the case. But I have watched the kids they've brought in and thought to myself on more than a handful of kids on both sides, the kids that aren't ready yet and the kids that they probably can't afford right now, and gone, this is setting up something for the future, potentially.
Look, he ended up not being very good, but, I mean, you think about that for the years. So, look, if you can get great players to your campus, even to visit, you do it, no matter what. I mean, who knows? I mean, it can't hurt you. There's no negative to that. So, Rashada coming in was good, period.
Sure.
No matter what. But, yeah, I mean, 7-8 years ago, that would have the transfer portal as it was would have been a whole different connotation on, like, what was the kid's name? The running back, Derek Green, the Michigan running back that came in with Robert and Laramie or Laquan that day.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss wasn't getting Derek Green. He was going to Michigan, but she went, it doesn't work out. And he might come play with Laquan and them in a year.
Sure.
Like, there's a whole other level now that in the past it was just, he's here, but whatever.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
And now it's, and like I said, the video comes out and Ole Miss starts.
Okay, I did not. I'm going to be honest, and I don't know this. I did not think that video coming out when it came out yesterday was a coincidence.
You did not think they just released the video because they hadn't yet put the video out from the Grove Club?
I did not. I could be wrong, but
So you think it was speaking to Jaden Rashada? That may be strong, but...
Speaking to the Jaden Rashadas.
Okay, fair.
Yes, that's what I thought. Kiffin is too good of a marketer for that just to come out. Hey, it happened to come out on... I didn't buy that.
Well, look, there is a transfer to the SIP sweatshirt. There is not a sign with the SIP sweatshirt that I'm aware of.
Not yet. No, that has become their brand. Their whole spring game, if you watch... I shouldn't say the whole spring game. One of the big themes of the spring game broadcast was the transfer portal. And Lane and them did nothing to steer away from that. At no point have you heard Lane go, hey, look, this was a one-year thing. This is not what we want to be. In fact, what you hear from people inside the program is, we're not going to sign many high school guys. We are not going to reach on high school guys as long as we can have this kind of success in the portal. It appears to be working. Jalen Robinson goes on in the transfer portal. Where's the first place he goes? Ole Miss. It might end up being the last place he goes.
Yeah. Ole Miss appears to be a clear front runner for him.
If that's
and when you get those guys and they play well, and it's why people were at least Lane's going to play the person who wins because he's got to win. That's what matters. Hell, not going to lose to do something. But it's why in most places you go, well, hey, he's the quarterback because he transferred in to be the quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The video that Jalen Robinson put up on Instagram or wherever with Lane, where Lane's chauffeuring him around, and Lane goes, just one thing I ask, transfer to the SIP. I mean, they're putting that out there. It's very public. It's not – it's the brand. And maybe it's the strategy. And maybe they believe – and look, their roster kind of starting to look like this, that it works. And if Ole Miss is good this season coming up, okay, if we're at the end of next season, if we're talking about a 9-3, 10-2 team again,
9 or more,
it's the transfer portal that got them there. That will be why. Because if it weren't for the transfer portal, if they were doing a traditional rebuild where bringing in a bunch of young guys and they would be taking a step back because the second half of that schedule would just be too daunting. We would be talking about 6-6.
And we've mentioned this multiple times, and it's very relevant here. They're getting a lot of multi-year guys, so it's not just Troy Brown one-and-dones. And then, two, like I said a minute ago with Dart, they've already transferred. So you're not going, got it. Got to get them in right now, or they're not. No, you're cool. Yeah. They're here.
Well, guys like Ivy and
they're your dudes the rest of the way.
Yeah, those are guys that are in your program for a couple of years.
And that's a win.
Sure. And I would think he would tell you that's the sweet spot in recruiting.
Oh, yeah. 2 to 3 year transfer who's used that
guy who's transferring in who has 2 or more years to play. That's the sweet spot. We talked about this last week. I mean, there's some spots where you take a guy because you have to have someone to plug and play. Mason Brooks, Troy Brown, Chance Campbell a year ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody does the rental player.
We have a hole, let's get a rental. This is if you're a professional team, that's signing a vet to a 1-year deal.
Yeah, or at the break, knowing he's signing elsewhere at the end of the season.
Right.
Here's the deal, too. Lane has talked about putting his roster together in NFL and professional terms the entire time, since day one, even before the portal became what it became, because we didn't know that exactly in fall of 19. But here's the deal, too. I think he relates with that kid better. I think Lane relates with the portal kid better, who's seen some stuff and been around and is not worried about, I got to make sure. I mean, Lane loves the picture and the marketing, don't get me wrong. But the kid who's just obsessed with, I really need only this photo op and all this. And instead it's, hey, what's the deal? You want the ball? Come play. We'll put you in the NFL. We'll do this. Like, it's not all that other stuff. There's a big difference in an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old from a maturity standpoint who's been in a program and seen it. And when, hey, that crap doesn't matter. That's over the day you walk into the building for the first time whenever you enroll. And
sure,
now we're just practicing and playing and grinding and the whole deal. And
sure.
I think that's Lane's favorite player to deal with is the dude who goes, no, just here's what I want.
I think so.
Here's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Get me to the league. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
you cool, I'm cool. All right, let's do this.
I mean, I remember talking to Michael Trigg's dad the very first day that he was in the portal. Really liked Ole Miss, liked John David Baker, liked that Lane had gotten tight ends, the way that he used tight ends, wanted to get to the league, wanted to win the Mackey Award. Pretty simple. Really wasn't about bells and whistles anymore. Wasn't about glamour and all that stuff. It was, and that's not picking on the kids. I mean, the 17-year-old kid that comes in for the photo shoot,
have at it.
Whatever.
Sure.
How the coaches get through those without curling up into a ball is beyond me. But
who gave the quote about how authentic Brian Kelly was a couple days ago? I only saw the pullout quote, and I went, hold on a minute. Hold on. I got questions.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, he's more authentic than any former LSU. I was like, hold up. What's that say about Les Miles? Because Kelly.
Yeah. He's more authentic.
Speaking a Southern accent.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And doing the dancing thing and come on. Stop.
I really want him to fail. I don't know why, but I know why. I do. I want him to fail.
You're
want
cheering
LSU
harder against LSU than any other team in the league.
Oh, well, hold on now.
If I told you that you get to have a failure, you get to have a flaming disaster of a failure next season.
No, it's A&M.
Really?
No. The A&M message board.
Oh, that's true.
No, please. Yeah, if you told me, like, within even a little bit of reason, A&M goes 6-6 next year.
Yeah.
Oh God. No, that's it. No, LSU can go 10-2. I don't care. No, A&M 6-6.
That'd be fine. So
that's what I want. That's A&M. It's not close. Now LSU is probably second. I'm trying to think who would be second beyond that. It's all Brian Kelly. It's not even really the program.
So if I drew up a scenario where A&M starts out 2-0.
Yeah, I don't have their schedule.
I have it up.
So. Okay.
Can you imagine? The following is not going to happen, but if it did, I'm with you. This would be glorious.
Yeah, no, it's A&M.
Lose to Miami on September 17th.
Sure.
Lose the Arlington game against Arkansas.
Sure.
Then go to Starkville and lose.
We would all combust right there. I mean, that's not happening.
Because you know what's after that is Alabama. Oh.
And that's all you need. At that point.
Or let me have the stretch where they go to South Carolina all full of themselves and get popped.
Sandstorm starts playing, and you got the
lose back-to-back home games to Ole Miss and Florida. Lose at Jordan-Hare in November.
Well, in all seriousness, it's a program that is always kind of teetering when things kind of go poorly. They're a really young team. Now, the scenario you're painting is not going to happen.
No.
But if you told me they hit some emotional, mental adversity and kind of freak out for a couple weeks and it falls apart, I would kind of buy that.
Yeah.
You've got all this NIL and all these expectations and all this stuff with a stupid young team that's going to get popped in the mouth in this league a little bit. I'm sure they could go roll a 10-2, but they could also go roll 7-5.
Grind has a really good question here, and it's the one that I have too. The portal can make you good, but can it make you great? Can you become a great team with portal guys?
Yeah, let me think about it for a second. First, tell you about Northeast Spark, NESPARC, 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford Studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Portal controls, network security, wireless mesh extender. and phone service available if you would like that. Also, if you don't have internet in Union or Pontotoc County, give them a call. Same number, 662-238-3159. Again, that's nespark.com.
We're also brought to you by Lammons Fine Jewelry. Lammons, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been serving the Oxford area for almost 3/4 of a century. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. LammonsFineJewelry.com or 662-234-2777. We're also brought to you by ACS. My buddy Clay McNutt established ACS in 2013 there in Baldwin, Mississippi. It is a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. If you're in need of custom HMI and SCADA solutions or large horsepower VFD specialist, ACS has you covered. They can service and install Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, Siemens, ABB, Square D, and many other manufacturers. ACSLLCMS.com or call 662-601-4381. Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch is used before or while you drink. The overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. It's GameChangerPatch.com. Promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. And you can go to DeadSoxy.com. Enter the promo code RebelGrove at checkout and get 25% off your order of the best socks you'll ever put on your feet. And then I was looking, I thought I had it here, Chase. Southern Traditions Farm. Go there and go to Southern Traditions Farm on Instagram or Twitter. Check them out. Don't forget their camps are coming up starting on May the 30th. They have, I think, 5 summer camps, all Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 2 p.m. Get in touch with them on social media to sign up. Look for Susan Walt or, just get in touch with them. They're at Southern Traditions Farm.
So, what are we classifying as great? Winning the division?
Yeah, being a playoff team, being a true playoff contender. Because last year, if you look at Ole Miss, honestly, they were built on program guys. Lane came in and took over a program and built it. Took what had been a foundation and maximized it. Matt Corral was a quarterback, had been in the system. Sam Williams, Jerry and Ely, Steve Connor, Ben Brown. I mean, those were guys that had been at Ole Miss
all those dudes.
Been at Ole Miss for a long time. This year coming up is like the first big litmus test where you go, this is a bunch of transfer guys.
And it's also where, when you look at it, Ole Miss wants to have a better overall roster because of the transfers than last year, where the defense as a whole is better. It's because if you want to get really not even pessimistic, but if you can't look at it as, hey, this guy's replacing this guy, and this guy's replacing this guy, and this guy's replacing this guy. That's not fair or relevant, but you're not replacing really good college football players who've graduated with equal players right off the bat from a portal. I mean, whomever, if it's just for the portal conversation, if it was Jackson Dart, he's not going to be Matt Corral in year one. That's not a fair comparison. You know, Jared Ivey is not going to be Sam Williams from day one. You know,
right?
Frankly, even whether it be Tennyson or Ashim Young, they're not Jake Springer from day one. They're not going to be the same skill set, do some of the same things. You've got a lot of spots where you go, oh, no, it actually would be a decline, but that's not the point. I mean, Cedric Johnson is the guy that needs to take the step to be more of a Sam Williams-type player, if you will. You know, I think they hit on the running backs. I think the backfield overall is better than last season with Evans and Bentley and Judkins, too. You can do it, but you got to get the quarterback exactly right. You got to be elite at quarterback, I think, to do it. And now that's you got to be elite at quarterback no matter what. But even more so with the portal, I think you've got to 100% hit the right quarterback, and then it's what Lane's got to show. You can't have a year where the portal doesn't hit. And when I mean that, I mean you either A, don't get them, or B, they don't turn into or are the player that you expect them to be. And some of that is expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, Lane can't expect Ashim Young to go out and be Ed Reed. He's got to be the same guy he was at Iowa State. it was Kermit's fault with Ty Fagan. Ty Fagan is the exact same dude he was at Georgia.
Yeah.
But you made him play 32 minutes instead of 18 minutes or whatever it was, and he couldn't do that. So you can't ask the portal guys to do more than they are capable of being. You have to understand, like they're going to take Jared Ivey and go, no, we can fix him. We can make him into a dominant guy that fits the way his body looks. And maybe they do. But there's a lot of self-evaluation, self-scouting in this portal thing that is very, very relevant to taking that next step. But no, it's doable. And I think Ole Miss is becoming the reputation to at least get those looks. Because whereas they're not getting them out of high school kids, when a kid jumps in the portal, he at least looks over at Lane and goes, hey, it's working for some people. Sure, let's go see what that looks like. They need Zach Evans to have a big year. They need several of these guys to have years where you go, oh, no, here's the evidence of that, especially if Luke ends up being the quarterback. Nothing against Luke, but you don't have the quarterback to push through the portal at that point.
Well, if Luke ends up being the quarterback, I think you can sell that to high school kids.
Oh, you can.
Hey, this is a guy that, because people forget, Lane took the job, and we do these podcasts every day, so I know sometimes this is repetitive. Lane took the job in December of 19, and one of his first stops was Starkville, and it was to see Luke Altmaier, who at the time was committed to Florida State. Because we went from flip to the SIP to come to the SIP to now it's transferred to the SIP. But he got Altmaier to flip, spent a year as the apprentice under Matt Corral. And if Luke ends up winning the job and having success, I think you can recruit to that as well. The only thing I would say is this is just me being skeptical. I think you can go get running backs and defensive backs and maybe even an offensive tackle in the portal all the time and plug and go. But that does not feel like a great strategy at quarterback. I still think at quarterback you need the guy who comes in, is part of
because you're taking a guy that didn't work for some reason.
Is part of your program, who comes up, who has the respect of all of the team, and so that when he wins the job, when he takes that huddle, he's your guy. And I think when you're taking over, like Shane Beamer at South Carolina, I don't think Spencer Rattler is going to run into friction. Because obviously they're like, hey, we needed a quarterback. He's a guy, whatever. But, at other places, I think where you've got development guys who've come in and they've paid their dues and it's their turn. It's their turn to have a shot. Sometimes I think they have to get that shot at that position. I don't even know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, no, I get it.
The quarterback thing feels like it's a different position because it is a different position.
And there's a leadership element. There's a continuity element. There's a taking over in the summer element to quarterback.
Yeah.
That it's got to be the right guy.
Yeah, you want your...
And when you bring a portal in, you're probably fighting with somebody who's already there and already has that chemistry.
It's a big part of last season at Ole Miss. There was no question at all. Hey, who's the face of the program? Who's our leader? Who's the guy that when he raises his hand to speak, everyone stops and listens? It was Matt. Which was something that Matt had to grow into, but it was Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And people that had been in the program with Matt knew that, hey, this guy's been through some shit. This isn't some golden child plucked and put in there and, hey.
Just handed the silver spoon.
No, he had to earn it. He's been through the grind with us. I saw him lose his job. I saw him stand on the sideline as the backup. I saw him go through all that. I know he thought about leaving, but he stayed. We're all in this. He's been here a long time. There was a lot of that on last year's team, man. A lot of that.
And when they got that text from him in July, I go, all right, we're going to show.
Yeah.
It's 2. He sent it. Let's go.
When he goes, hey, we're throwing at 6 a.m. or we're throwing at 4:30. Okay. We're there.
Yeah.
No questions asked. So that was the big part of last year's team. I feel like it's part of the team that we didn't cover very well.
Yeah.
Frankly. So this year you bring in all these transfer guys. And you've got, I think, what's a more talented roster. I've had people go, I think you're overplaying the chemistry thing. I'll tell you this, people inside the program are telling me that I'm not overplaying the chemistry thing, that it is something that has to be built, has to be developed. It's very important. It matters. It's the one thing about not having a quarterback going into the summer
You don't have that one guy.
You don't have that one guy. Now
Yeah.
they both have to do it, and there's this competition. And look, I'm sure they'll both tell you, hey, we get along. And
they need to be on the same schedule as far as they need to kind of do it at the same time. You don't need, hey, these three, Trigg and Watkins go with him, and this guy goes with him. It's got to be.
And that's
kind of almost up to them, too, to get together and go, hey.
And that's harder to do when you're competing for the job.
But you go, hey, 6:30, we need to both.
Yeah. You know, like last year, Luke goes, I'm sure Luke would have loved to have been the quarterback, but he knew Matt was the quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
And so you take that
He
spot.
showed up when Matt told him to show
up. Showed up, and you say, okay, I'm going to learn here.
Yeah. Close here because I thought this was a decent trivia question. We're back to baseball for a second.
Okay.
We got plenty more NFL and stuff as the week goes on. Most career home runs for players who played their entire career for one franchise.
Most career home runs.
For a player who played his whole career in one place.
Okay.
What do you think?
And the first name that came to mind was Ernie Banks.
Ernie Banks is fourth on the list with 512 home runs.
Okay.
You can tell I give him no heads up that these things are coming.
Babe Ruth.
That is incorrect.
No, because Babe Ruth played for Boston.
He did. Yeah, there's a whole.
Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig is on that list. He's like fifth or sixth. 493 home runs. That is correct.
Is Al Kaline on this list?
Al Kaline is like 11th or 12th on this list at 399 home runs.
Hank Aaron technically played for one organization, but he moved around, so he doesn't count, right?
He is not on this list.
Okay.
The number one I would have not gotten. It's a little more your era. I thought you would have gotten number one. I would have gotten 2, 3, and 4 pretty quickly, and then
my era, one guy, one franchise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate myself in a minute.
You are.
Yeah.
There's also a Cub on this list.
The Cub would be Ron Santo, right?
The Cub would be Ernie Banks.
Yeah, I already said Banks.
Oh, you did. Oh, that's when you said it. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah, he is the only Cub on this list as I'm scrolling. Sorry.
Okay. Because like Billy Williams played in Oakland for a little while, so he wouldn't be on that list. My era.
Because like Harmon Killebrew played one season for the Royals, his very last season in Major League Baseball. There's a couple like that too.
I'm trying to think my era.
I'll give you some at the bottom. Cal Ripken at 431s on this list. Jeff Bagwell at 449s on this list. Carl Yastrzemski at 452s on this list. Chipper at 468s on this list. Willie Stargell at 475. Stan Musial at 475.
Oh, I think Joseph King just got one.
And there's 4 more left.
Mike Schmidt.
He is number 1.
Yeah.
Mike Schmidt, 548 home runs. Number 2 is Mickey Mantle with 536 home runs.
Okay.
Probably should have gotten that. And then number 3, 521, is Ted Williams.
Oh. I didn't realize he hit that many home runs.
Yeah. And then Mel Ott, 511.
Yeah. Schmidt is my era. I mean, when I was a kid, Mike Schmidt was stud.
Yeah. Miggy got to 3,000. He's on pace to be one of only 3 players in Major League history to have 3,000 hits, at least 500 home runs, and a 300 career batting average.
Who are the other 2?
Willie Mays is one,
Right.
and I think Hank Aaron is the other one, but I could be wrong. But I want to say it was Aaron. But I know Willie Mays is one of the other 2. Because like Ted Williams didn't get to 3,000 hits. Obviously, he hit over 300. And there's lots of dudes with 298 batting averages. Barry Bonds and Mickey Mantle both at 298 for their career.
What George Brett end up hitting? Do you know off the top of your head?
Like batting average?
Yeah, he was over 300, right?
George Brett, batting average, career. 305.
Yeah.
So he get 500 home runs. He had 300 and something home
I
runs.
idolized George Brett as a kid.
Oh, really?
Oh. Would go to Arlington to see him play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
295 for Alex Rodriguez, career batting average.
Yeah.
He really fell off there at the end. So, because sustaining that through the twilight years is a bit of a
So hard
to hit. A stretch.
It's like you watch like Joey Votto now, and just sometimes it gets overmatched, and you're like, that guy is an elite. I mean, elite of the elite hitters.
Yeah.
Just tells you how great like Ken Griffey Jr. was. How just phenomenal he was.
Mm-hmm.
Just what an incredible.
With the right health. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, well, and how good Shohei is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he might be the best player. Potentially, his numbers are the only person that's in the same ballpark with him is Babe Ruth.
We're not going to get down the road because we're done for the day. But it is the most egregious and fascinating thing that the Angels have been so irrelevant with Trout and Shohei over this course of period of time, back to back.
Yeah,
just fascinating. So
those two guys on the same roster, and you can't be even a playoff team,
right?
Can't
be just noticeable.
Can't develop arms.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just
it's a mess. So. All right. We will be back with you tomorrow, Rebel Grove in the meantime, and then for those interested, again, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, not Southern Miss, tonight, 6 o'clock from Trustmark. Take care. Talk to you soon.